So the overarching thought process behind inhalation dysfunction is that you're going to use respiratory assist and you're going to apply downward traction on the lateral portion of that rib as the patient exhales. And so in the case of, and you're also going to try to side bend the body around that rib in order to localize it as much as possible. So in the case of rib 1, inhalation dysfunction, you don't want to be as here next to the transverse process, you want to be out a little bit more lateral on the lateral portion of rib 1. And then you're going to ask the patient to breathe in. And as they breathe out, you're going to apply downward pressure on the rib, and you're also going to bring the head into side bending towards that rib to take up some of the slack and give that rib a little bit of room to travel downwards. And then you would repeat again, breathe in. As they breathe in, you would resist. And then breathe out, and as they breathe out, you would allow the head to side bend slightly more. And then breathe in, and breathe out. And as they breathe out, you would take it slightly more. And then you would bring it back to neutral, and you would reassess your breathing at that point to see if the inhalation dysfunction had resolved. Rib 2, you can also contact from this position. So rib 2, the lateral portion is going to be just behind the clavicle. And so you're going to apply, just as before, have the patient breathe in. And then as they breathe out, you're going to apply side bending and downward pressure on the lateral portion of rib 2. From ribs 3, 4, 5, and on down to 10, from there you're going to contact the lateral portion of the rib. Rib 3, you can catch the lateral portion just in the axilla. And you're going to use side bending, not as much of the head, but more side bending of the trunk to allow the rib cage to be slack so that you can exert downward pressure onto the rib in question. So the same rule is going to apply from rib 3 all the way down to rib 10. So just as an example, if we used rib 6, and rib 6 had inhalation, was your key rib for inhalation dysfunction, rib 6 is going to insert just before the xiphoid process, and you can follow that out to the lateral portion. You would contact that rib, and then you would ask the patient to breathe in, and then as they breathe out, you're going to side bend them slightly around that rib and apply downward pressure on that rib. Now breathe in. As he breathes in, you're going to resist. As he breathes out, you're going to side bend him slightly more and apply downward pressure. And then breathe in, breathe out, and side bend slightly more. And you're steadily exerting more and more downward pressure on that inhaled rib to try to reset it back into position. That same principle would apply all the way down to rib 10.